Does Transformers Rise of the Beasts suck? Hey guys, my name is Brandon, aka the BrandoCritic. Thank you guys so much for being here with me today. I really do appreciate it. I was able to see Transformers Rise of the Beasts a few days early, and I'm here to give you my honest thoughts, no spoilers, and tell you if it sucks or not. But let me know, guys, are you guys big fans of Transformers? Have you guys been watching all the Michael Bay movies? Have you guys been fans of Transformers since the 1980s with the toys and the cartoon? Whatever the case may be, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section down below, and what is your favorite Transformers movie? And make sure you guys stick around to the end of the review so you guys know my rating of the film, or else you might be going to a film that might not be right for you. Now, let's get started. So the director is Steven Caple Jr. I'm not too sure about that. And he's directed Creed 2. Not a bad movie, hey? And I was actually very surprised with how stacked this cast is. You got Michelle Yeoh, Pete Davidson, Ron Perlman, Peter Dinklage, Anthony Ramos, Dominique Fishback, and many others. And the story is that in 1994, the Autobots are looking for this lost key. And with the help of the Maximals, the animal Transformers, they have to try to find the key before Unicron and their henchmen, led by Scourge, does. So it's a MacGuffin chase movie. Very simple. So what did I think of this movie? I'm actually shocked to say this, but I thought this movie was awesome. It was so simple. It was so straightforward. It felt very old school. It felt like a movie that I would have watched when I was a kid back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And watching this, yeah, I felt like I was a kid again. I'm like, oh my God, I'm watching a Transformers movie. I'm getting really excited by the action. I want to watch more Transformers movies after this. Like, I want them to continue this story. I was getting hyped. The sad moments didn't really necessarily make me emotional, but I cared about what was happening. And I would say that this movie is greater than the sum of its parts, right? Like, so I can look at, all the filmmaking techniques and all the aspects of this movie, and I can't necessarily point to one and go, that was amazing, that was fantastic. They're all solid. They're all just really well done, but the overall experience, because it was so well executed, it really does feel like a better experience than maybe you pick it apart and it actually is. So that's the thing, right? Like, I was looking at the release schedule and I'm going, oh my God, they're making another Transformers movie. Well, Bumblebee was really good. Hopefully this movie is kind of detached from the other Transformers films, and I think this is like a new canon. I'm not too sure how this ties in with the other ones. I don't think it does. I think it just goes Bumblebee and then this, and I'm totally fine with that. This movie feels a lot more simplistic. It feels a lot more contained than those over-the-top Michael Bay ones where it feels like it's the greatest movie of all time, the biggest movie, the most epic thing you've ever seen. I don't think Transformers actually needs to be that. I think it can be more of a smaller scale, more contained story, and that's exactly what this is. Now, I only have like 2 complaints or 2 problems with the movie, maybe 2.5, but that 0.5 isn't necessarily a problem for me, but I do think it will be a problem for other people. So number 1, the second act in this movie I felt really dragged. I'm thinking, okay, the movie's kind of getting in its own way. It's getting bogged down in the whole, well, we gotta go to this place to get a thing, to chase the thing, to get this thing, to do this thing, and it's just kind of general movie fluff. And I'm going, okay, nothing bad is happening here. Like, there's nothing bad in this movie. Really, I can't think of one real fatal flaw, but I'm thinking to myself, well, the first act was so exciting, it was so fun, and then of course the third act we'll get to, but the second act I'm like, okay, well, it feels like we're just going through the motions to get to the third act, and I was getting kind of bored. I wouldn't say bored, I would just say less enthused, I'll say. So that's my first problem with the movie. My second problem with the movie is the villain. Now this, I would say, is probably the biggest flaw with the movie. Scourge, our main villain, is extremely generic. Really boring, lame, very one-note villain. He is Mr. Bad Guy because he is not the good guy. That's about all the characterization we have of him. Think of like Darkseid from Justice League or Ronan from Guardians of the Galaxy. He's just a henchman to the bigger power, right? And he has absolutely no personality. I will, though, say that this movie does have a looming threat. So you did feel the stakes, even though you didn't care about this guy, but you knew that the higher power that he worked for was coming and could do some serious damage. So there were some stakes in the movie, just that the henchman that we really see all the time is not very interesting, at all. And I mean, I could nitpick and go, well, this movie took place in 1994, and the song from Notorious B.I.G. Hypnotize was in this movie, and I believe that came out after 1994, so this movie, technically speaking, is inaccurate, and it sucks. I mean, yeah, I could say that. I noticed that in the movie, I will admit, but I'm like, well, who cares? Hypnotize is an amazing song, but I digress. The 0.5 problem, like my 2.5 problems, is that the sentimentality is cheesy and on the nose, but who cares? You know what I mean? Like, I will admit that I've had my problems with on the nose, forced sentimentality before. While sure, there are all those speeches about, when I'm down, you always push me to keep going. Now it's my turn to keep pushing you to keep going. You're my brother and I love you, and yeah, we're gonna win because we fight and we're brothers from Brooklyn. And it's like, okay, it's like hitting you over the head with it, but it's not stupid. It's cheesy and it's on the nose, but it's not cringeworthy. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just one sentence, that's all the characterization you have. You do actually have some build up between the characters in the beginning of the movie. And so when those like platitudes come out, you're like, okay, yep, I get it. So for this movie, we have Noah Diaz. He's our main character, so to speak, the new Sam Witwicky, and his little brother. You know, they're living together and with their mom, but the mom is constantly working, always working late, going to classes, and he has to look out for his little brother. And his little brother has some kind of hand issue. I don't know what the disease is called. I didn't catch that in the movie, but yeah, he's got a hand issue, and he's like, well, we can't go to the doctor because we're behind on our bills and we just got to keep fighting to survive. You know, and they're not living in, I would say, the best part of New York City. At least it didn't seem that way, but they have that pact. And when one of the Transformers goes off on an adventure, you know, the little brother goes, hey, you know what? If you don't protect my brother, I'm going to kill you, right? So it's like that brother bond, you know, it's standard in movies like this. But, you know, when that brother bond almost gets torn apart, I'm thinking, no, I don't want that to happen. I want them to stay together. So you like the characters. So the over-the-top sentimentality, I can tell that it will bother some people, and in a bad, dumb movie, it would bother me. But here I was actually okay with it. So that's my 0.5 issue. Like, it's getting close to the fence, you know what I mean? And I think it works because the heart of this movie is in the right place. This movie does actually have themes, and it has messages about family, right? Taking a page right out of Fast and Furious, and friendship, but fighting evil, and how sometimes the best way to overcome injustice is to fight on the same side. Evil is the one enemy, and we have to destroy it together. And I know a lot of people will be trying to fight it in their own way to protect their family. And of course, being the big brother, there's a lot of similarities between Noah Diaz and his little brother and Optimus Prime. And he is like the big brother to Bumblebee and to Mirage and to the other Transformers. So instead of just looking out for ourselves and trying to protect our family, sometimes the best course of action is to team up to fight the evil together. So the movie's about family, friendship, and teamwork. Very basic themes, but again, like, it's not just a throwaway line. Like, these themes are throughout the movie. Yeah, sure. Did Noah Diaz, you don't know how to be on a team. And then, of course, he learns how to be on a team. Sure, again, it's obvious stuff, and it's not great, but it's just well executed, and it's well structured. And with a really good foundation, even like a mediocre movie will feel larger than life. It will feel like a better movie because the foundations are in place. And I think that's the case with Transformers Rise of the Beasts, because again, like, this movie isn't fantastic by any means. Like, this movie isn't amazing, but I walked out of the theater going, this is an awesome movie. I felt like a kid again. This was just, it was firing on all cylinders. And the comedy, I was actually shocked. Like, I laughed many times in this movie. And what's funny about it is that there's not that many jokes. There are just a few cleverly put jokes throughout the movie, and every single one of them landed. There is a joke about, you know, one of the Transformers having like a Spanish accent or a Latino accent or whatever the term you want to use. And of course, Noah Diaz speaks Spanish. So he's just like, hey, you know, that's that accent. And he starts, you know, talking Spanish, you know, ¿Qué pasa, hermano? And it's like, well, what accent? And it's like, that's kind of racist, dude. And I'm thinking, man, that's so funny because, you know, you talk about the Michael Bay Transformers movies, you know, you have, you're racist towards black people with the car salesman, racist towards white people with Sam's parents, and then you had like those ice cream trucks in Revenge of the Fallen. Like, it's just stereotypes across the board everywhere, right? And so when you have a joke like this, kind of like poking fun at itself, I thought it was really, really great. And of course, Pete Davidson is fantastic in the movie. I kind of forgot that it was actually him. I was just so involved in the movie and in the characters. And a lot of the jokes just really, really land. There were some like sexual innuendos, but again, they didn't feel forced. They felt perfectly timed. So the comedy really worked for this movie. It really won me over. It felt like it wasn't going joke, 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 joke. We're cool, we're hip, you know, we're Marvel. Nope, just a couple good jokes. That's all you need. And speaking about Pete Davidson's character, Mirage, he is like the new Bumblebee in this movie. I know Bumblebee's in the movie, but the main Transformer to have the bond with our main human character, and he's cool, he's chill, you know, he's, you know, doing fist pumps. I liked him a lot. He was funny. He was probably my favorite Transformer. I don't want to say ever, but he's close. And there's another human character named Elena who works in a museum, and she is extremely smart. She's extremely badass. She's extremely witty, and she has a lot of funny lines too. So her and Noah, you know, have good chemistry. You know, they're not like in a romantic relationship or anything. There's just a good bond there. She was definitely a worthy addition to the movie, and I'm glad they didn't do the whole thing where, yes, she's extremely smart and she knows a lot about ancient history and archaeology, and you know, she's doing all those like hieroglyphics kind of research. So it's like, oh, we need to go to this place in the world because of, you know, the Transformers symbols match up with whatever, you know. So she's very smart. She's the brains of the operation, but she doesn't make Noah Diaz look like an idiot, right? It's not Ant-Man and the Wasp where Evangeline Lilly is the cool one and then Paul Rudd is at the butt end of every single joke. They didn't do that here. I'm really tired of that trope, and I'm glad that it's not here at all, because we have two main characters who are both strong, independent, but who can also work together in a team to save the day. Love it. Great. And they're both funny too. And I mean, Noah, our main character, he's got a big heart, and he's determined, and he's a leader, and he's just a person who really cares about doing the right thing and protecting his family, and that is very enticing for viewers to watch. I was totally on his side. He might not have the same charisma as a Shia LaBeouf on screen, like in terms of just acting chops, but like Noah Diaz was a great character for this movie. He was a great protagonist. And then of course you have the Transformers. You got Bumblebee, Optimus Prime, love them. The Maximals, I think Air Razor, played by Michelle Yeoh, she's awesome. And then of course Optimus Primal. You know, I loved all the Primals too. I just loved that group of characters. Just seeing them on screen, you know, like with all their powers and all of their different Transformerness. It's just awesome to see. And the action was not as over the top as the original movies, but that's what I like about it. It feels more grounded. And yes, you do have kind of like that Avengers Endgame big battle at the end to stop the space laser, you know, all that kind of stuff that you'd find in another Transformers summer blockbuster. But the music was great. Character motivations and the character stakes were really high. I was just really involved in it. I was totally on the edge of my seat. I'm like, this climax is awesome. And it's not doing anything super over the top. And that's all you need. It really worked. By that time, I was completely on board. And I'm like, this movie is just awesome. And there's some musical cues in there that they just hit the mark with those. So I won't tell you what they are, but man, were they great. So the question is, does this movie suck? Well, if you've watched this video until now, you'll know that I don't think so at all. I thought this movie, you know, really just kind of tore away all of the excess fluff of the Michael Bay movies and got to the heart and center of what a Transformers movie could be, and I thought they really nailed it. A great structure, again, nothing fantastic here, but really well executed, and I felt like I was a kid again watching it. So for that reason, I'm giving Transformers Rise of the Beasts a 4 out of 5. I'm so happy to say that. I was thinking, oh, I'll go into this movie, I'll give it a 2, you know, oh, it's gonna be okay. But I said, you know what though? You know, this movie could surprise me, because Bumblebee really surprised me. Michael Bay's producing, we'll see. And the after credit scene, I've talked about how much I kind of, not necessarily despise after credit scenes, but I've seen them all. I've seen the whole hype machine going. This one got me. I will admit, the after credit scene, I was like, oh, it completely went a different direction than I thought it was gonna go, and I'm kind of stoked. Bring me more Transformers, I'm on board. So thank you guys so much for watching, guys. If you guys like this video, definitely hit like and subscribe. I really appreciate all the support, and if you want to support me on a personal level, then Patreon is down below in the description. We do monthly watch-alongs. I gave you guys movies every single month, and you guys get to see content early, so I highly recommend checking that out, and you guys get to join a really great community of great people. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.